So this coming Friday, wearing masks is going to be mandatory in Washington. So Washington State is going to require people to wear facial coverings in public settings under a statewide public health order announced Tuesday by Governor Jay Inslee, who we are referring to out here as Comrade Inslee, in response to the ongoing COVID-related concerns. The order was issued by Secretary of Health John Weisman, takes effect this Friday. The order requires face coverings when people are indoor in a public area and outdoor in a public area within 6 feet of when 6 feet of physical distancing can't be maintained. And this is because Yakima County has had a resurgence of sorts. So, under this proclamation, businesses in Washington are prohibited from allowing a customer to enter a business or conduct business with a customer in any public space unless the customer is wearing a face covering. There are exemptions for children under the age of 2, people who are deaf, or have hearing loss, because apparently those people cannot contract nor spread the disease. Facial coverings for children between 3 and 5 are strongly recommended, but not required. People engaged in recreation alone or with household members, and those eating out at restaurants, because when you're putting food in your mouth, you actually become immune to viruses. Little known fact. People eating at restaurants wouldn't have to wear masks as long as they are properly distanced. The statewide order builds on a previous one from Inslee that has required workers to wear facial coverings unless they don't interact with others on the job. And a spokesman for Inslee said that a violation of this mask order would be a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and up to a $1,000 fine. Violation of the Yakima County proclamation would be a gross misdemeanor, punishable by up to 364 days in jail and up to $5,000 fine. And this is happening as Washington is in the process of reopening. Many of us we're in this 4-stage reopening plan. Just a second. Better. We're in this reopening plan, and a lot of us are in phase 3. Restaurants can be at 75% capacity. Gyms and movie theaters at half capacity. And so it's kind of strange to a lot of people. Why are we instituting this requirement now when there has been no requirement? I mean, I've yet to wear, I've yet to wear a mask out in public, in a store, or anywhere. And yet now, of course, you point a gun at my head. But what's going on? Well, you may not be familiar with Washington state politics, but Jay Inslee, Comrade Inslee here, is an interesting one because he made national headlines when it was a Wednesday afternoon, he was being interviewed, and this was the day after the Chaz had formally been declared an autonomous zone in Seattle, and it was the biggest news story in the country. And this is how he reacted to a question regarding that. Watch.
Question comes from Keith with Como.
Governor, I'd like to ask you about what's going on in Seattle. There's this thing called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What's your thought on that? The fact that the protesters have taken that over and not allowing people to come and go freely? I think regarding the Capitol Guard.
Well, that's news to me, so I'll have to reserve any comment about it. I have not heard anything about that from any credible source. Not that you're not credible. It's just like before I espouse an opinion, I should know of which I speak.
So wise. Yeah. So a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads like, what's going on? How could Jay Inslee not know that a part of Seattle was taken over? Well, the answer is he did know. Of course he knew. It was the biggest story in the country, and he's the governor. He knew, guys. So another little known fact about Jay Inslee is He ran for president. He was one of the Democrat nominees. I think he got somewhere in the neighborhood of 1% of the vote. But he has aspirations for higher office. And so what you're seeing here is he's virtue signaling, okay? But who is he virtue signaling to is certainly not the hippies in Seattle. He doesn't care about their opinion one bit. He doesn't care about the little guy. He's got his eye on the crown. So the people he's signaling to, and a lot of this is it's just about making Orange Man look bad. It's become very politicized. Mask or no mask, freedom or socialism. And so what he's trying to do is signal to the kingmakers, the powers that be, the people that choose our presidential candidates and serve them up to us. And, we get two choices that are essentially the same. He's saying, I will go along with the nonsense. I will go with any crazy false narrative. It's a public humiliation ritual, like making a black actor wear a dress, or some of these things these secret societies have, John Kerry and George W. Bush both did. It's a way of debasing himself in public, but what he's showing is those in power is he'll go along with any nonsense. He'll be their good little errand boy. Because the presidency, with the exception of Donald Trump, is largely a figurehead. Look at Justin Trudeau. Okay, Justin Trudeau has declared Canada a post-national society. A post-national society. They're going to have no values, no roots, no history. Post-nationalism. Well, what comes after nationalism? Well, like a European Union, a North American Union, or a North American League. This is kind of the Agenda 21, 2030. This is moving the ball forward, and Jay Inslee is signaling, yes, I will go along with that. I just want to have the nice puff pieces written about me by the liberal media, and whatever you say, I'll go along with it. Despite the fact masks have little to no scientific evidence that they do anything, it doesn't matter. Maybe they help, maybe they don't. CDC is flip-flopped, the WHO is flip-flopped. And by being someone who will humiliate himself, what he needs to have, what the kingmakers need to see is somebody that has a kill switch. Justin Trudeau has a kill switch. He's got, I don't know, he doesn't know. Nobody knows how many times he's worn blackface. I call him Justin Blackface. But he's self-admitted worn blackface more times than he can count. And that means if he goes off the reservation, if he tries to actually lead in a direction that his handlers don't approve of, his career's over. All of a sudden, the liberal controlled, and it's not just liberal, but those that control the media, they're going to end his political career overnight. And see, they don't have to assassinate a leader because that makes them a martyr. Better that he just ride off into the sunset in utter disgrace. That's why they love these humiliation rituals. And we generally don't know what they are. We don't really know what they had on George W. We don't know what they had on Kerry. There's speculation that Obama had cocaine-fueled homosexual experiences, but we don't really know. We don't need to know. But it needs to be something that, if it came out, would devastate them. And we happen to know with Trudeau. I mean, it's easy to see. And so Inslee is just signaling that he wants to get in the game. He's ready to play. And we'll see. We'll see if he gets a little better treatment next time he runs for higher office. And it's what so many of these people in Seattle are doing. This is why you see the statues coming down. And not just in Seattle, but across the country. And it's not just Confederate statues. It's statues of everyone. It's statues of Lincoln. It's statues of Ulysses S. Grant. It's about erasing the history. Because that's what you do when you conquer a country. And this goes back even to ancient times when a new power rises. I mean, when Christianity took over the Roman Empire, they took down statues of the pagan gods or knocked off their heads, knocked off the heads of emperors and replaced them with saints. This is what an ascendant power does. And so people like Inslee, people like Trudeau, people like these Antifa guys, this is why the UN tweeted support for Antifa recently. I just did a video on that. It's because they're working on ushering in this post-national world. They're moving beyond the nation state. Now ask yourself, first of all, do you think you're going to have more rights? You think you're going to have more rights? You think you're going to have a First and Second Amendment? No, not a chance. Do you think you're going to be rewarded for helping institute the New World Order? Because that's what a lot of these little flunkies think, is if they go out there and signal to the ascendant incoming power that, hey, we are on your side, they're somehow going to reap some eternal reward. Well, think about it. The whole idea here is an atomized population. No families, no roots. You can move workers whatever region you need them in North America here. And so they established this new government. And they're going to point at the first guy and they're going to say, what can you do? And he says, I can drive a forklift. They say, great, we need a warehouse worker over in Wyoming. Next guy, what can you do? And he says, well, I'm a doctor. Okay, we need a doctor down in Mexico. Third guy, they say, what can you do? And he says, I'm construction. They go, great, we're doing a lot of construction in California. And they point to the fourth guy, the revolutionary, the spoiled brat that's been throwing bricks through windows. And they say, what can you do? And he says, well, I'm a revolutionary. Where's my reward? And it's like, well, do you have any other skills? No, I'm a revolutionary. I helped get you in this position of completely unaccountable power where I don't have a right to free speech or a fair trial or anything that I had as an American. And they're like, yeah, right. So the only thing you're good at is sowing chaos and disorder, interfering with the implementation of order, and you think you're going to get a reward? I mean, what do these guys think they're going to get? A castle? If they're lucky, they get hauled off to a gulag. But chances are they just disappear. That's the reward for serving evil. That's what you're going to get. You're the people that can work will just go to work, and it will be less good. Because of course you've got power taken away. There's not going to be any more elections at this point. You can't vote them out, and you can no longer defend yourself. All these rights you take for granted, like, look, just because nuclear weapons made conquering the world through standing armies impossible, doesn't mean there still aren't people trying to conquer the world. Yeah, they got a very different idea for the future than you and I have, and it's not freedom. And socialism and communism are not freedom. They're antithetical to freedom. It's putting power in the hands of a few, and really one. It's like the Lord of the Rings. It's like Sauron. It's like these people are rallying to enshrine a dark god. Who knows with the medical technology that's coming out, maybe they will. Just wanted to push this video out. It's coming down, and maybe if you take a step back and look at things from the 10,000 foot level, it's funny how all the decisions and kind of confusing things going on, they all start to make sense once you see the grand plan. It's like being zoomed in with a microscope on a newspaper, and it's like, well, it's just a bunch of dots. And it's like, yeah, well, you try looking at it from back here, and you think, oh, it's a paper with a headline, and there's words, and it means things. It all means things. You're just looking at it with the wrong level of magnification. So keep this in mind, Seattle, Washington, United States, well, there is one. You get to vote in November, but it may be for the last time.